1, Scene 1. King Lear's palace. Enter Kent, Gloucester, and Edmund.
I thought the king had more affected the Duke of Albany than Cornwall.
It did always seem so to us, but now, in the division of the kingdom, it appears not which of the dukes he values most, for equalities are so weighed that curiosity in neither can make choice of either's moiety.
Is not this your son, my lord?
His breeding, sir, hath been at my charge. I have so often blushed to acknowledge him, that now I am braced to it.
I cannot conceive you.
Sir, this young fellow's mother could, whereupon she grew round-wombed, and had indeed, sir, a son for her cradle, ere she had a husband for her bed. Do you smell a fault?
I cannot wish the fault undone, the issue of it being so proper.
But I have a son, sir, by order of law, some year older than this, who yet is no dearer in my account, though this knave came something saucily to the world before he was sent for. Yet his mother was fair, there was good sport of his making, and the whoreson must be acknowledged. Do you know this noble gentleman, Edmund?
No, my lord.
My lord of Kent, remember him hereafter as my honourable friend.
My services to your lordship.
I must love you, and sue to know you better.
Sir, I shall study deserving.
He hath been out 9 years, and away he shall again. The king is coming.
Senate. Enter one bearing a coronet. King Lear, Cornwall, Albany, Goneril, Regan, Cordelia, and attendants.
Attend the lords of France and Burgundy, Gloucester.
I shall, my liege.
Exeunt Gloucester and Edmund.
Meantime, we shall express our darker purpose. Give me the map there. Know that we have divided in 3 our kingdom, and 'tis our fast intent to shake all cares and business from our age, conferring them on younger strengths, while we unburthened crawl toward death. Our son of Cornwall, and you are no less loving son of Albany. We have this hour a constant will to publish our daughter's several dowers, that future strife may be prevented now. The princes, France and Burgundy, great rivals in our youngest daughter's love, long in our court have made their amorous sojourn, and here are to be answered. Tell me, my daughters, since now we will divest us both of rule, interests of territory, cares of state, which of you shall we say doth love us most, that we our largest bounty may extend, where nature doth with merit challenge? Goneril, our eldest born, speak first.
Sir, I love you more than word can wield the matter, dearer than eyesight, space, and liberty, beyond what can be valued rich or rare, no less than life, with grace, health, beauty, honor, as much a child ever loved or father found, a love that makes breath poor and speech unable, beyond all matter of so much I love you.
What shall Cordelia speak? Love and be silent?
Of all these bounds, even from this line to this, with shadowy forests and with champaigns riched, with plenteous rivers and wide-skirted meads, we make thee lady. To thine and Albany's issues be this perpetual. What says our second daughter, our dearest Regan, wife of Cornwall?
I am made of that self-metal as my sister, and prize me at her worth. In my true heart, I find she names my very deed of love. Only she comes too short, that I profess myself an enemy to all other joys which the most precious square of sense possesses, and find I am alone felicitate in your dear highness's love.
Then poor Cordelia. And yet not so, since I am sure my love's more ponderous than my tongue.
To thee and thine, hereditary ever, remain this ample third of our fair kingdom, no less in space, validity, and pleasure than that conferred on Goneril. Now our joy, although our last and least, to whose young love the vines of France and milk of Burgundy strive to be interest, what can you say to draw a third more opulent than your sisters? Speak.
Nothing, my lord.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing will come of nothing. Speak again.
Unhappy that I am, I cannot heave my heart into my mouth. I love your majesty according to my bond, no more nor less.
How, Cordelia? Mend your speech a little, lest you may mar your fortunes.
Good, my lord. You have begot me, bred me, loved me. I return those duties back as are right fit. Obey you, love you, and most honor you. Why have my sisters husbands, if they say they love you all? Happily, when I shall wed, that lord whose hand must take my plight shall carry half my love with him, half my care and duty. Sure, I shall never marry like my sisters to love my father all.
But goes thy heart with this?
Ay, my good lord.
So young and so untender?
So young, my lord, and true.
Let it be so. Thy truth then be thy dower. For, by the sacred radiance of the sun, the mysteries of Hecate and the night, by all the operation of the orbs, from whom we do exist and cease to be, here I disclaim all my paternal care, propinquity and property of blood. And as a stranger to my heart and me, hold thee from this forever. The barbarous Scythian, or he that makes his generation messes, to gorge his appetite, shall to my bosom be as well neighbored, pitied, and relieved, as thou, my sometime daughter.
Good, my liege.
Peace, Kent. Come not between the dragon and his wrath. I loved her most, and thought to set my rest on her kind nursery. Hence, and avoid my sight. So be my grave my peace, as here I give her father's heart from her. Call France, who stirs? Call Burgundy. Cornwall and Albany, with my 2 daughters' dowers digest the third. Let pride, which she calls plainness, marry her. I do invest you jointly with my power, preeminence, and all the large effects that troop with majesty. Ourself, by monthly course, with reservation of 100 nights, by you sustained, shall our abode make with you by due turn. Only we shall retain the name and all the addition to a king, the sway, revenue, execution of the rest. Beloved sons, be yours, which to confirm this coronet part between you.
Royal Lear, whom I have ever honored as my king, loved as my father, as my master followed, as my great patron thought on in my prayers.
The bow is bent and drawn. Make from the shaft.
Let it fall, rather. Thou the fork invade, the region of my heart. Be Kent unmannerly. When Lear is mad, what wouldst thou do, old man? Think'st thou that duty shall have dread to speak, when power to flattery bows? To plainness honour's bound. When majesty falls to folly, reserve thy state, and in thy best consideration check this hideous rashness. Answer my life, my judgment. Thy youngest daughter does not love thee least, nor are those empty-hearted whose low sounds reverb no hollowness.
Kent on thy life no more.
My life I never held but as a pawn, to wage against thine enemies, nor fear to lose it, thy safety being motive.
Out of my sight!
See better, Lear, and let me still remain the true blank of thine eye.
Now by Apollo?
Now by Apollo, king, thou swearest thy gods in vain.
O vassal, miscreant!
Laying his hand upon his sword.
Dear sir, forbear!
Kill thy physician, and the fee bestowed upon the foul disease. Revoke thy gift, or whilst I can vent clamour from my throat, I'll tell thee thou dost evil.
Hear me, recreant, on thine allegiance hear me, that thou hast sought to make us break our vow, which we durst never yet, and with strange pride to come betwixt our sentence and our power, which nor our nature nor our place can bear, our potency made good. Take thy reward. 5 days we do allot thee for provision to shield thee from disasters of the world, and on the 6th to turn thy hated back upon our kingdom. If on the 10th day following thy banished trunk be found in our dominions, the moment is thy death. Away! By Jupiter, this shall not be revoked.
Fare thee well, king, sith thus thou wilt appear. Freedom lives hence, and banishment is here. The gods to their dear shelter take thee, maid, that justly think and hast most rightfully said. And your large speeches may your deeds approve, that good effects may spring from words of love. Thus Kent, O princes, bids you all adieu. He'll shape his old course in a country new.
Exit flourish. Enter Gloucester with France, Burgundy, and attendants.
Here's France and Burgundy, my noble lord.
My lord of Burgundy, we first address toward you, who, with this king, hath rivaled for a daughter. What in the least will you require in present dower with her, or cease your quest of love?
Most royal majesty, I crave no more than hath your highness offered, nor will you tender less.
Right noble Burgundy, when she was dear to us, we did hold her so, but now her price is fallen. Sir, there she stands, if aught within that little seeming substance, or all of it, with our displeasure pieced, and nothing more. May fitly like your grace, she's there, and she is yours.
I know no answer.
Will you, with those infirmities she owes, unfriended, new adopted to our hate, dowered with our curse, and strangered with our oath, take her or leave her?
Pardon me, royal sir, election makes not up in such conditions.
Then leave her, sir, for by the power that made me, I tell you all her wealth. For you, great king, I would not from your love make such a stray, to match you where I hate. Therefore beseech you to avert your liking a more worthier way, than on a wretch whom nature is ashamed almost to acknowledge hers.
This is most strange, that she, whom even now was your best object, the argument of your praise, balm of your age, the best, the dearest, should in this trice of time commit a thing so monstrous to dismantle so many folds of favor. Sure, her offense must be of such unnatural degree that monsters it, or your forevouched affection fall into taint, which to believe of her must be a faith that reason without miracle should never plant in me.
I yet beseech your majesty, if for I want that glib and oily art, to speak and propose not, since what I well intend, I'll do it before I speak, that you make known it is not vicious blot, murder or foulness, no unchaste action or dishonored step, that hath deprived me of your grace and favor, but even for want for that for which I am richer, a still unsoliciting eye, and such a tongue, that I am glad I have not, though not to have it, hath lost me in your liking.
Better thou hadst not been born than not have pleased me better.
Is it but this, a tardiness in nature which often leaves the history unspoke that it intends to do? My lord of Burgundy, what say you to the lady? Love's not love when it is mingled with regards that stand aloof from the entire point. Will you have her? She is herself a dowry.
Royal king, give but that portion which you yourself propose, and here I take Cordelia by the hand, Duchess of Burgundy.
Nothing. I have sworn, I am firm.
I am sorry, then, you have so lost a father that you must lose a husband.
Peace be with Burgundy. Since that respect and fortunes are his love, I shall not be his wife.
Fairest Cordelia, that art most rich, being poor, most choice forsaken, and most loved despised. Thee and thy virtues here I seize upon. Be it lawful I take up what's cast away. Gods, gods! 'Tis strange that from their coldest neglect my love should kindle to inflamed respect. Thy dowerless daughter, king, thrown to my chance, is queen of us, of ours, and our fair France. Not all the dukes of waterish Burgundy can buy this unprized precious maid of me. Bid them farewell, Cordelia, though unkind, thou losest here a better where to find.
Thou hast her, France. Let her be thine, for we have no such daughter, nor shall ever see that face of hers again. Therefore be gone without her grace, our love, our benison. Come, noble Burgundy.
Flourish. Exeunt Lear, Burgundy, Cornwall, Albany, Gloucester, and attendants.
Bid farewell to your sisters.
The jewels of our father hath washed eyes. Cordelia leaves you. I know what you are, and like a sister I am most loath to call. Your faults, as they are named, love well our father. For your professed bosoms I commit him, and yet, alas, stood I within his grace, I would prefer him in a better place. So farewell to you both.
Prescribe not us our duty.
Let your study be to content your lord, who hath received you at fortune's alms. You have obedience scanted, and well are worth the want you have wanted.
Time shall unfold what plighted cunning hides. Who covers faults, at last with shame derides. Well may you prosper.
Come, my fair Cordelia.
Exeunt France and Cordelia.
Sister, it is not little I have to say of what most nearly appertains to us both. I think our father will hence tonight.
That's most certain, and with you, next month with us.
You see how full of changes his age is. The observation we have made of it hath not been little. He always loved our sister most, and with what poor judgment he hath now cast her off appears too grossly.
'Tis an infirmity of his age, yet he hath ever but slenderly known himself.
The best and soundest of his time hath been but rash. Then must we look from his age, to receive not alone the imperfections of long engrafted condition, but the wherewithal, the unruly waywardness, that infirm and chronic years bring with them.
Such unconstant starts are we like to have from him, and this of Kent's banishment.
There's further compliment of leave-taking between France and him. Pray you, let us hit together. If our father carry authority with such disposition as he bears, this last surrender of his will but offend us.
We shall further think of it.
We must do something, and in the heat.
Exeunt. Act 1, Scene 2. The Earl of Gloucester's castle. Enter Edmund with a letter.
Thou nature art my goddess, to thy law my services are bound. Wherefore should I stand in the plague of custom, and permit the curiosity of nations to deprive me? For that I am some 12 or 14 moonshines lag of a brother. Why, bastard, wherefore base, when my dimensions are as well compact, my mind as generous, and my shape as true, as honest madam's issue? Why brand they us with base, with baseness, with bastardy? Base, base, who in the lusty stealth of nature take more composition and fierce quality than doth within a dull, stale, tired bed? Go to the creating a whole tribe of fops, go between asleep and awake. Well then, legitimate Edgar, I must have your land. Our father's love is to the bastard Edmund, as to the legitimate, fine word, legitimate. Well, my legitimate, if this letter speed and my invention thrive, Edmund the base shall top the legitimate. I grow, I prosper, now gods, stand up for the bastards.
Enter Gloucester.
Kent banished thus, and France and choler parted, and the king gone tonight, prescribed his power, confined to exhibition. All this done upon the gad. Edmund, how now? What news?
So please your lordship, none.
Putting up the letter.
Why so earnestly seek you to put up that letter?
I have no news, my lord.
What paper were you reading?
Nothing, my lord.
No? What needed then that terrible dispatch of it into your pocket? The quality of nothing hath not such need to hide itself. Let's see, come, if it be nothing, I shall not need spectacles.
I beseech you, sir. Pardon me, it is a letter from my brother that I have not all overread, and for so much as I have pursued, I find it not fit for your overlooking.
Give me the letter, sir.
I shall offend, either to detain or give it. The contents, as in part I understand them, are to blame.
Let's see.
I hope for my brother's justification he wrote this but as an essay or taste of my virtue.
Gives the letter.
This policy in reverence of age makes the world bitter to the best of our times, keeps our fortunes from us till our oldness cannot relish them. I begin to find an idle and fond bondage in the oppression of aged tyranny, who sways, not as it hath power, but as it is suffered. Come to me, that of this I may speak more. If our father would sleep till I waked him, you should enjoy half his revenue forever, and live the beloved of your brother, Edgar. Hum, conspiracy! Sleep till I waked him, you should enjoy half his revenue? My son Edgar, had he a hand to write this, a heart and brain to breed it in? When came you to this? Who brought it?
It was not brought me, my lord. There's the cunning of it. I found it thrown in at the casement of my closet.
You know the character to be your brother's?
If the matter were good, my lord, I dost swear it were his, but in respect of that I would fain think it were not.
It is his.
It is his hand, my lord, but I hope his heart is not in it, the contents.
Has he never before sounded you in this business?
Never, my lord, but I have heard him oft maintain it, to be fit that, sons at perfect age and fathers declined, the father should be as ward to the son, and the son manage his revenue.
Oh, villain! His very opinion in the letter. Abhorred villain, unnatural, detested, brutish villain, worse than brutish. Go, sirrah, seek him. I'll apprehend him. Abominable villain, where is he?
I do not well know, my lord. If it shall please you to suspend your indignation against my brother till you can derive from him better testimony of his intent, you should run a certain course, where if you violently proceed against him, mistaking his purpose, it would make a great gap in your own honor, and shake in pieces of the heart of his obedience. I dare pawn down my life for him, that he hath writ this to feel my affection to your honor, and to no other pretense of danger.
Think you so?
If you honor judge at meet, I will place you where you shall hear us confer of this, and by auricular assurance have your satisfaction, and that without any further delay than this very evening.
He cannot be such a monster.
Nor is it not, sure?
To his father, that so tenderly and entirely loves him. Heaven and earth, Edmund, seek him out. Wind me into him, I pray you. Frame the business after your own wisdom. I would unstate myself to be in a due resolution.
I will seek him, sir, presently. Convey the business as I shall find means, and acquit your withal.
These late eclipses in the sun and moon portend no good to us, though the wisdom of nature can reason it thus and thus. Yet nature finds itself scourged by the sequent effects. Love cools, friendship falls off, brothers divide. In cities, mutinies. In countries, discord. In palaces, treason, and the bond cracked twixt son and father. This villain of mine comes under the prediction, there's son against father. The king falls from bias of nature, there's father against child. We have seen the best of our time. Machinations, hollowness, treachery, and all ruinous disorders follow us disquietly to our graves. Find out this villain, Edmund, it shall lose thee nothing. Do it carefully. And the noble and true-hearted Kent banished, his offense, honesty. 'Tis strange.
Exit.
This is the excellent foppery of the world, that when we are sick in fortune, often the surfeits of our own behavior, we make guilty of our disasters the sun, the moon, and the stars, as if we were villains on necessity, fools by heavenly compulsion, knaves, thieves, and treachers by spherical predominance, drunkards, liars, adulterers, by an enforced obedience of planetary influence, and all that we are evil in by a divine thrusting on. An admirable evasion of whoremaster man to lay his goatish disposition to the charge of a star, my father compound with my mother, under the dragon's tail, and my nativity was under Ursa Major, so that it follows I am rough and lecherous. But I should have been that I am had the maidenly star in the firmest twinkle of my bastarding Edgar.
Enter Edgar.
And he comes like the catastrophe of the old comedy. My coup is villainous, melancholy, with a sigh like Tom o' Bedlam. Oh, these eclipses do portend these divisions, fou so la me.
How now, Brother Edmund? What serious contemplation are you in?
I am thinking, brother, of a prediction I read this other day. We should follow these eclipses.
Do you busy yourself with that?
I promise you the effects he writes of succeed unhappily. I promise you the effects he writes of succeed unhappily. As of unnaturalness between the child and the parent, death, dearth, dissolutions of ancient amities, divisions in state, menaces and maledictions against the king and nobles, needless diffidences, banishments of friends, dissipation of cohorts, nuptial breaches, and I know not what.
How long have you been a secretary astronomical?
When saw you my father last?
The night gone by?
Spake you with him?
Aye, 2 hours together.
Parted you in good terms? Found you no displeasure in him by word nor countenance?
None at all.
Bethink yourself wherein you may have offended him at my entreaty. Forbear his presence until some little time have qualified the heat of his displeasure, which at this instant so rage within him, that with the mischief of your person it would scarcely allay.
Some villain hath done me wrong.
That's my fear. I pray you have a continent forbearance, till the speed of his rage goes slower, and as I say, retire with me to my lodging, from whence I will go, fittily bring you to hear my lord speak. Pray ye go. There's my key. If you do stir abroad, go armed.
Armed, brother?
Brother, I advise you to the best. I'm no honest man. If there be any good meaning toward you, I have told you what I have seen and heard, but faintly. Nothing like the image and horror of it. Pray you away.
Shall I hear from you anon?
I do serve you in this business.
Exit Edgar.
A credulous father, and a brother noble, whose nature is so far from doing harms, that he suspects none, on whose foolish honesty my practice is right easy. I see the business. Let me, if not by birth, have lands by wit. All with me's meet that I can fashion fit.
Exit. Act 1, Scene 3. The Duke of Albany's palace. Enter Goneril and Oswald, her steward.
Did my father strike my gentleman for chiding of his fool?
Ay, madame.
By day and night he wrongs me. Every hour he flashes into one gross crime or other that sets us all at odds. I'll not endure it. His nights grow riotous, and himself upbraids us on every trifle. When he returns from hunting, I will not speak with him. Say I am sick. If you come slack of former services, you shall do well. The fault of it I'll answer.
He's coming, madame. I hear him.
Put on what wary negligence you please, you and your fellows. I'd have it come to question. If you distaste it, let him to my sister, whose mind and mine, I know, in that are one, not to be overruled. Idle old man, that still would manage those authorities that he hath given away. Now by my life, old fools are babes again, and must be used with checks as flatteries. When they are seen absurd, remember what I have said.
Well, madame.
And let his knights have colder looks among you. What grows of it? No matter. Advise your fellows so. I would breed from hence occasions, and I shall, that I may speak. I'll write straight to my sister to hold my very course. Prepare for dinner.
Exeunt. Act 1, Scene 4. The Duke of Albany's palace. Enter Kent, disguised.
If but as well I other accents borrow, that can my speech diffuse, my good intent may carry through itself to that full issue, for which I razed my likeness, now banished Kent. If thou canst serve where thou dost stand commend, so may it come, thy master, whom thou lovest, shall find thee full of labours.
Horns within. Enter Lear, knights, and attendants.
Let me not stay a jot for dinner. Go, get it ready.
Exit an attendant.
How now? What art thou?
A man, sir.
What dost thou profess? What wouldst thou with us?
I do profess to be no less than I seem, to serve him truly, that will put me in trust, to love him that is honest, to converse with him that is wise, and says little, to fear judgment, to fight when I cannot choose, and to eat no fish.
What art thou?
A very honest-hearted fellow, and as poor as the king.
If thou beest as poor for a subject as he is for a king, thou art poor enough. What wouldst thou?
Service.
Who wouldst thou serve?
You.
Dost thou know me, fellow?
No, sir, but you have that in your countenance which I would fain call master.
What's that?
Authority.
What services canst thou do?
I can keep honest counsel, ride, run, mar a curious tale in telling it, and deliver a plain message bluntly, that which ordinary men are fit for. I am qualified in, and the best of me is diligence.
How old art thou?
Not so young, sir, to love a woman for singing, nor so old to dote on her for anything. I have years on my back, 48.
Follow me. Thou shalt serve me. If I like thee no worse after dinner, I will not part from thee yet. Dinner, ho! Dinner! Where's my knave, my fool? Go you, and call my fool hither.
Exit an attendant. Enter Oswald.
You, sirrah, where's my daughter?
So please you. Exit.
What says the fellow there? Call the clock Paul back.
Exit a knight.
Where's my fool, ho? I think the world's asleep.
Enter knight.
How now, where's that mongrel?
He says, my lord, your daughter is not well.
Why came not the slave back to me when I called him?
Sir, he answered me in the roundest manner. He would not.
He would not?
My lord, I know not what the matter is, but, to my judgment, your highness is not entertained with that ceremonious affection as you were wont. There's a great abatement of kindness appears as well in the general dependents as in the duke himself also and your daughter.
Ha! Sayest thou so?
I beseech you, pardon me, my lord, if I be mistaken, for my duty cannot be silent when I think your highness wronged.
Thou but rememberedst me of mine own conception. I have perceived a most faint neglect of late, which I have rather blamed as mine own jealous curiosity, than as a very pretence and purpose of unkindness. I will look further into it. But where's my fool? I have not seen him this 2 days.
Since my young lady is going into France, sir, the fool hath much pined away.
No more of that. I have noted it well. Go you, and tell my daughter that I would speak with her.
Exit an attendant.
Go you, call hither my fool.
Exit an attendant. Enter Oswald.
Oh, you, sir, you, come hither, sir. Who am I, sir?
My lady's father.
My lady's father, my lord's knave, you whoreson, dog, you slave, you cur.
I am none of these, my lord. I beseech your pardon.
Do you bandy looks with me, you rascal?
Striking him. I will not be strucken, my lord.
Nor trip neither, you base football player.
Tripping up his heels.
I thank thee, fellow, thou'lt serve me and I'll love thee.
Come, sir, arise away. I'll teach you differences. Away, away. If you will measure your lover's length again, tarry, but away. Go to, have you wisdom?
Exit Oswald.
So.
Now, my friendly knave, I thank thee. There's earnest of thy service.
Gives Kent money. Enter Fool.
Let me hire him too. Here's my coxcomb.
Offers Kent his cap.
How now, my pretty knave? How dost thou?
Sirrah, you best take my coxcomb.
Why, fool?
Why? For taking one's part that's out of favor. Nay, and thou canst not smile as the wind sits. That'll catch cold shortly. There, take my coxcomb. Why, this fellow has banished 2 one's daughters, and did the third a blessing against his will. If thou follow him, thou must needs wear my coxcomb. How now, nuncle? Would I had 2 coxcombs and 2 daughters?
Why, my boy?
If I gave them all my living, I'd keep my coxcombs myself. There's mine. Beg another of thy daughters.
Take heed, sirrah, the whip.
Choose the dog must to kennel. He must be whipped out when the lady's bratch may stand by the fire and stink.
A pestilent gall to me.
Sirrah, I'll teach thee a speech.
Do.
Mark it, nuncle. Have more than thou showest, speak less than thou knowest, learn less than thou owest, ride more than thou goest. Learn more than thou throwest, set less than thou throwest. Leave thy drink and thy whores, and keep in a door, and thou shalt have more than 2 tens to a score.
This is nothing, fool.
Then, 'tis like the breath of an unfeed lawyer. You gave me nothing for it. Can you make no use of nothing, nuncle?
Why, no, boy. Nothing can be made out of nothing.
Prithee, tell him. So much the rent of his land comes to, he will not believe a fool.
A bitter fool.
Dost thou know the difference, my boy, between a bitter fool and a sweet one?
No, lad, teach me.
That lord that cancelled thee to give away thy land, come place him here by me. Do thou for him stand. The sweet and bitter fool will presently appear, the one in motley here, the other found out there.
Dost thou call me fool, boy?
All thy other titles thou hast given away, thou was born with.
This is not altogether fool, my lord.
No, faith, lords and great men will not let me. If I had a monopoly out, they would have part on't. And ladies too, they will not let me have all the fool to myself. They'll be snatching. Nuncle, give me an egg and I'll give thee 2 crowns.
What 2 crowns shall they be?
Why, after I have cut the egg in the middle and eat up the meat, the 2 crowns of the egg. When thou clovest thy crown in the middle and gavest away both parts, thou borest thine ass on thy back o'er dirt. Thou hast little wit in thy bald head when thou gavest thy golden one away. If I speak like myself in this, let him be whipped. That first finds it so. Fools have ne'er grace less in a year, for wise men are so foppish. And now how their wits to wear, their manners are so apish.
When were you wont to be so full of song, sirrah?
I have used it, nuncle, e'er since thou madest thy daughters thy mothers, for when thou gavest them the rod and puttest down thine own breeches. Then thy for sudden joy did weep, and I for sorrow sung, that such a king should play bo peep and go the fools among. Prithee, nuncle, keep a schoolmaster that can teach thy fool to lie. I would fain learn to lie.
And you lie, sirrah, we'll have you whipped.
I marvel what kin thou and thy daughters are. They'll have me whipped for speaking. True, thou'll have me whipped for lying, and sometimes I'm whipped for holding my peace. I'd rather be any kind of thing than a fool, and yet I would not be thee, nuncle. Thou hast spared thy wit o' both sides, and left nothing in the middle. Here comes one of the pairings.
Enter Goneril.
How now, daughter? What makes that frontlet on? You are too much of late in the frown.
Thou wast a pretty fellow when thou hadst not no need to care for her frowning. Now thou art an O without a figure. I am better than thou art. I am a fool. Thou art nothing. Yes, forsooth. I will hold my tongue so your face bids me, though you say nothing. Mum. He that keeps nor crust nor comb, weary of all, shall want some. That's a shield, Pescod.
Not only, sir, this your all-licensed fool, but other of your insolent retinue, do hourly carp and quarrel, breaking forth in rank, and not to be endured riots. Sir, I had thought, by making this well known unto you, to have found a safe redress, but now I grow fearful, by what yourself too late have spoke and done, that you protect this course, and put it on by your allowance, which if you should, the fault which not scrape censor, nor the redress sleep, which, in the tender of a wholesome weal, might in their working do you that offence, which else were shame, that then necessity will call discreet proceeding.
For you know, nuncle, the hedge sparrow fed the cuckoo so long that it had it head bit off by it young. So out went the candle, and we were left darkling.
Are you our daughter?
I would you would make use of your good wisdom, whereof I know you are fraught, and put away these dispositions which of late transport you from what you rightly are.
May not an ass know when a cart draws the horse? Whoop. Jug, I love thee.
Does any here know me? This is not Lear. Does Lear walk this, speak thus, where are his eyes? Either his notion weakens, his discernings are letharge. Ha! Waking, 'tis not so. Who is it that can tell me who I am?
Lear's shadow.
I would not learn that, for by the marks of sovereignty, knowledge, and reason, I shall be false persuaded I had daughters.
Which they will make an obedient father.
Your name, fair gentlewoman?
This admiration, sir, is much of the savour of other your new pranks. I do beseech you to understand my new purposes aright. As you are old and reverend, should be wise, here you do keep 100 knights and squires, men so disordered, so debauched, and bold, that this court, infected with their manners, show like a riotous inn. Epicureanism and lust makes it more like a tavern or a brothel than a graced palace. The shame itself doth speak for instant remedy. Be then desired by her that else will take the thing she begs, a little to disquantity your train, and the remainders that shall still depend, to be such men as may besort your age, which know themselves and you.
Darkness and devils, saddle my horses, call my train together. Degenerate bastard, I'll not trouble thee. Yet have I left a daughter.
You strike my people, and you disordered rabble make my servants of their betters.
Enter Albany.
Woe, that too late repents. Oh, sir, are you come? Is it your will? Speak, sir, prepare my horses. Ingratitude, thou marble-hearted fiend, more hideous when thou showest thee in a child than this sea monster.
Pray, sir, be patient.
Detested kite, thou liest. My train are men of choice and rarest parts, that all particulars of duty know, and in the most exact regard support the worships of their name. O most small fault, how ugly didst thou in Cordelia show, which like an engine wrenched my frame of nature from the fixed place, drew from my heart all love, and added to the gall. O Lear, Lear, Lear! Beat at this gate that let thy folly in,
Striking his head.
and thy dear judgment out. Go, go, my people.
Exeunt Kent and knights.
My lord, I am guiltless, as I am ignorant of what hath moved you.
It may be so, my lord. Here, nature, here. Dear goddess, here, suspend thy purpose if thou didst intend to make this creature fruitful, and to her womb convey sterility. Dry up in her the organs of increase, and from her derogate body never spring a babe to honor her. If she must teem, create her a child of spleen, that it may live and be a thwart, disnatured torment to her. Let it step wrinkles in her brow of youth, with cadent tears fret channels in her cheeks, turn all her mother's pains and benefits to laughter and contempt, that she may feel how sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child. Away, away!
Exit.
Now, gods that we adore, whereof comes this?
Never afflict yourself to know more of it, but let his disposition have that scope as dotage gives it.
Enter Lear.
What? 50 of my followers at a clap, within a fortnight.
What's the matter, sir?
I'll tell thee. Life and death, I am ashamed that thou hast powers to shake my manhood thus. That these hot tears which break from me perforce should make thee worth them. Blasts and fogs upon thee! The untented woundings of a father's curse pierce every sense about thee. Old fond eyes beweep this cause again. I'll pluck ye out, and cast you with the waters that you loose, to temper clay. Yeah, is't come to this? Ha, let it be so. I have another daughter, who I am sure is kind and comfortable. When she shall hear this of thee with her nails, she'll flay thy wolvish visage. Thou shalt find that I'll resume the shape which thou dost think I have cast off forever.
Exit.
Do you mark that?
I cannot be so partial, Goneril, to the great love I bear you.
Pray you, content. What, Oswald, ho! You, sir, more knave than fool, after your master.
Nuncle Lear! Nuncle Lear! Tarry, take the fool with thee. A fox, when one has caught her, and such a daughter, should sure to the slaughter. If my cap would buy a halter, so the fool follows after.
Exit.
This man hath had good counsel. 100 knights? 'Tis politic, and safe to let him keep at point 100 knights. Yes, that on every dream, each buzz, each fancy, each complaint, dislike, he may enguard his dotage with their powers, and hold our lives in mercy. Oswald, I say.
Well, you may fear too far.
Safer than trust too far. Let me still take away the harms I fear, not to fear still to be taken. I know his heart. What he hath uttered I have writ my sister. If she sustain him and his 100 knights, when I have showed the unfitness.
Enter Oswald.
How now, Oswald? What, have you writ that letter to my sister?
Aye, madame.
Take you some company, and away to horse. Inform her full of my particular fear, and thereto add such reason of your own as may compact it more. Get you gone, and hasten your return.
Exit Oswald.
No, no, my lord. This milky gentleness and course of yours, though I condemned not, yet, under pardon, you are much more axed for want of wisdom than praised for harmful mildness.
How far your eyes may pierce, I cannot tell. Striving to better, oft we mar what's well.
Nay, then.
Well, well, the event.
Exeunt. Act 1, Scene 5. A courtyard in front of Albany's palace.
Go you before to Gloucester with these letters. Acquaint my daughter no further with anything you know than comes from her demand out of the letter. If your diligence be not speedy, I shall be there afore you.
I will not sleep, my lord, till I have delivered your letter.
If a man's brains were in's heels, were not in danger of keeps,
Ay, boy.
then I prithee, be merry. Thy wit shall not go slipshod.
Ha, ha, ha.
Shalt see thy other daughter will use thee kindly, for though she as like this as a crab's like an apple, yet I can tell what I can tell.
What canst tell, boy?
She will taste as like this as a crab does to a crab. Thou canst tell why one's nose stands in the middle on's face?
No.
Why, to keep one's eyes of either side's nose, that what a man cannot smell he may spy into.
I did hear wrong.
Canst tell how an oyster makes his shell?
No.
Nor I neither. But I can tell why a snail has a house.
Why?
Why, to put's head in, not to give it away to his daughters, and leave his horns without a case.
I will forget my nature. So kind a father. Be my horses ready?
Thy asses are gone about 'em. The reasons why the 7 stars are no more than 7 is a pretty reason.
Because they are not 8?
Yes, indeed, thou wouldst make a good fool.
To take it again perforce. Monster ingratitude.
If thou were a fool, nuncle, I'd have thee beaten for being old before thy time.
How's that?
Thou shouldst not have been old till thou hadst been wise.
Oh, let me not be mad, not mad, sweet heaven. Keep me in temper, I would not be mad.
Enter gentleman.
How now? Are the horses ready?
Ready, my lord.
Come, boy.
She that's a maid now and laughs at my departure shall not be a maid longer, unless things be cut shorter.
Exeunt.
That's it for our recording of Act 1 of King Lear. We hope this recording assisted you in beginning to understand the play better. You can be assured that our rendition is much easier on the ears than the one we had used for our class. Now then, this was only Act 1. Perhaps you can do the following acts to help future classes with even more of the play. Thank you.